You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast. I'm Andy Smith.
And I'm Tim Fulton, and this is Fight Fan Weekly, aka the Corona Chronicles. Once again, UFC 249, Womp Womp. All of our high hopes have been dashed, Andy.
Yeah, they have. They have. So walk us through it, Tim. Give us the lowdown.
So last week we were given a glimmer of hope when Dana White said that he found a spot to host UFC 249, and going forward, the UFC would be back in full-fledged greatness. And apparently the owners of Disney and ESPN called him up and said, yeah, no, you're not doing that. So he had to answer to his bosses, and officially UFC 249 has been postponed, and there is no UFC in sight for the time being.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy the length that they were trying to go to make this happen, where they were literally staging on an island somewhere for international fights because of the
Yeah,
travel restrictions. So, I
so
mean, you A for effort.
so the I think going forward, the Fight Island is still going to be a thing, but specifically for UFC 249, he wasn't telling anybody where, but allegedly it was going to be a Indian reservation because they can skirt around state law. So don't have the same restrictions as everyone else does in the state of California, and that's where he was going to host it. And he actually said that, I don't know how true this is, but he actually said that when they do go to shoot UFC 249, he still wants to host it at the Indian reservation because they were so helpful and so like YOLO about this whole thing that he wants to give them a little bit of props.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's not unlike them. I don't think, especially they're probably bending over backwards to try to help them.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
little thing there. The Indian reservations is notoriously known for hosting MMA events and all kinds of events because they don't really do any drug testing. I'm pretty sure. So like you'll see those skeptical hippo eye failing the sniff test guys back in the day were always fighting on Indian reservations, like exclusively on Indian reservations, because I think that they might do a drug test, but it probably just goes right in the garbage.
That's awesome for all the wrong reasons.
I know. There's just Thunderdome rules.
Hey man, it is what it is.
Yeah, so a little bit of a disappointing thing, but honestly, I'm not really as disappointed as I guess I would think I would have been, because it makes sense, right? You don't want to see anything go sour, and if they were telling them, time to just be safe here, then I got to agree with them.
Yeah, I actually agree with that too. You know what? Just sit on your hands for another month and we're going to make it through all this. I mean, it's probably going to be more than a month for the general population, but if like professional sports just have to wait a little bit longer to like have things be truly reasonably okay, even if they can find a better way to test before these things go out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I heard they're coming out with a test now that's or I don't know how accurate or effective or whatever it is, but where it's almost like a diabetes test where they can prick your finger and
oh,
they can
really?
tell you within a couple minutes. But I mean, like I said, didn't read anything on it, literally heard it online somewhere. So I don't know how true that is.
Well, it has to be 100% correct because it was on the internet.
Oh yeah, silly me. How could I have forgotten? Yeah, but what's the only sad part about it being canceled and these events being canceled is that these guys are not getting paid when they're not fighting, which is the guys that make more money it's okay for, but the guys that are the undercard, like a lot of these guys rely on those paychecks to come in. So I hope that they're trying to do something, maybe giving them like an advance on future fights or something like that, just so they don't have to be struggling, because it's not
Ye-
like they have 9 to 5 jobs.
Yeah, this was going to be their paycheck. I vaguely remember seeing something where Dana White said, "Don't worry, guys, about money. You're going to be paid," or something like that. But that was like literally the extent of what I saw. So I don't know what the details of that are.
Yeah, I don't know what they are either, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but not as big of a bummer as I would have thought. It's almost like I mean, we did literally name the last one High Hopes,
Yeah.
because we knew that they were trying to get it done, and I think it was one of those. If it happens, excellent. If it doesn't,
It is
like
what it is.
we get it.
Yeah. You know what? It would have been a step towards normalcy again, which I think everyone's dying for, but you can't rush it.
Yeah, it's got to be. It has to be like a natural, like feel good type thing.
Exactly.
Apparently, Rogan was going to do the commentating on it though.
He was?
Yeah. He was like, yeah, I was like 85% sure I was confident that I was making the right decision. Like he was going to do it, but he was nervous about it. So I think he sounded like he was kind of glad from what I had seen in the clip. But yeah, he was going to apparently commentate it wherever it was going to be held. And I guess he was nervous about it, but who wouldn't be? So I think with all that, it's probably a good thing that it was postponed.
So let me ask you a question. The alternate bout that we were going to see on the main card was going to be Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
When UFC 249 officially does come out, assuming things are back to normal, just make that assumption for this. What is the main event?
Okay, so I think if everything goes back to normal, somebody flips a switch, no travel restrictions, nothing is going wrong, I think you have to make Khabib versus Tony. I don't think that just because the guy stepped up and all that, it doesn't mean you cancel that fight that people have been waiting for God knows how long, because Justin Gaethje is no slouch. Like he could easily come away with that as a victory and it not be like a complete shocker.
Yeah.
So he could really throw a wrench in the engine for a fight that everyone's been wanting to see. And the thing is that say he does upset Tony Ferguson. I don't even know if he's the underdog, but just say he upsets him. Then all that hype towards Khabib versus Tony is kind of like diminished a little bit.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, and I don't think it's fair, but I'll just say I don't think it's fair to the fighters that have been waiting that long for that fight, or the fans who have been waiting for that fight, how many times it's been canceled and all this stuff, to not make that fight if they have every opportunity to make it, because fate has stepped in so many times to stop that fight. I think it's like it owes it to itself to happen.
Yeah. My only fear is that if they do Tony versus Khabib, that the coronavirus 2.0 is going to come out. Every time they do it, it gets worse and worse.
Yeah, imagine that was the catalyst for this whole thing.
I don't doubt it.
The universe just couldn't think of any other way to cancel. Like, we had him trip over some wires and tear his knee apart, but this motherfucker was fighting 6 months later. We tried making people get injuries and all this stuff, but fuck it, pandemic. We got to go big.
Next thing you know, it's going to be Fight Island having a mutiny. The fighters are going to get kidnapped.
Pirates of the Caribbean. All kinds of crazy shit.
I'd watch it.
Fuck yeah. So what do you think that they should fight, or like what's your take on it? Do you think Gaethje should get it because he stepped up, or do you think that the original fight should take place?
You know what? I actually agree with you. The original fight should take place. That's what was going to happen. We can't completely change things just because there was a quick change to Justin Gaethje. I know it wasn't really quick, but like,
yeah, give him the winner.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Give him the winner. He stepped up. He deserves something, but he doesn't deserve the next fight, but maybe the winner of that.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, that's the sad news. That's not really that sad.
It was the news we should have expected.
Yeah, pretty much. So any final thoughts on this before we get out of here?
No, sir. I am good to go.
All right. Well, this has been the Bro Down Podcast. Thanks for everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.
Peace out, everybody.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day.